What's going on, Sumolings? Thank you so much for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. I am Lindsay, and today I am joined by the teams over at Prefinery. This is a customer acquisition platform that uses customizable referral campaigns to incentivize viral sharing. It is on AppSumo right now, starting at $59 for a lifetime deal. Before we dive into the walkthrough, I want to just tell y'all a few quick things. The first is that if you want to tell us a little bit about your use case, why you're interested in this tool, you can go ahead and do that in the chat room. If you have any questions about the tool, the deal, how to get set up, go ahead and leave those questions in the Q&A box down below this video. We will circle back to it at the end of the walkthrough. And the last thing is that there will be a replay of this available. So if you need to step out or you just want to watch this later, you totally can. Hello, Francisco. If anybody else wants to say hi to me in the chat, I do love to see it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to you, Justin. How are you doing?
Lindsay, I'm doing great today. Yeah, super excited to share Prefinery with everybody.
Wonderful. We've got Don here. He says he's launching an artisan craft coffee roasting business. Congrats to Don. That sounds awesome. Sean says hi. Hello, everybody. All right, I'm going to pass this to you. Shut off my video. Let me know when you're ready to take some questions.
All right, that sounds great. Yeah, we'll get right into it. All right, hi everybody. Excited to see people here talking about their businesses they're launching and trying to grow. So yeah, I'm gonna dive right into the demo here. So I'm gonna go over two popular campaign types that people run with Prefinery. So one is a pre-launch waiting list campaign for like some new service or product or app or whatever it is that you're making and launching soon. The second is just a general refer a friend, word of mouth referral campaign that can be used for lots of things like sweepstakes and giveaways and e-commerce and selling your physical products and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna dive right into the demo. We're actually gonna start with the general referral campaign, kind of build that out a little bit, see what it looks like. And then at the end, I'll cover some of the differences that get changed if you're running a pre-launch campaign. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen. All right, I should be sharing. All right, so the first one I'm gonna go through is, I'm gonna use Dropbox as an example. It's just a referral campaign that almost everyone's familiar with. I mean, it's you refer a friend to Dropbox and you each get some bonus storage, right? So when I refer a friend, I'm gonna get a gigabyte of free bonus storage, and then that friend's gonna get 500 megabytes, and then I can keep referring friends and I can keep getting bonus storage. So that's an example that most people are familiar with, so I'm gonna dive into that one. But before I dive into what that dashboard looks like for a built out campaign, I'm just gonna run quickly through the wizard. So when you're gonna create a new project here in Prefinery, we're gonna ask you some questions about what you're promoting. You know, is this a SaaS app or a mobile app or a video game or a physical product? We use this to customize like some of the things that get like enabled in your campaign. For example, like if it's a video game, then we might enable some video game features that let you send out special video game keys to your audience. So anyway, so you select what you're promoting and then we tweak your campaign for you. So if I say there's a SaaS app, because it's sort of what Dropbox is, I'm going to say there's a general campaign. Prefinery lets you enable or disable double opt-in. For those of you who aren't familiar, double opt-in is basically when somebody signs up, do they immediately get added to your campaign, or do they get an email that says, hey, please confirm your email address? So if you enable double opt-in, then they have to confirm their email address. I'll select no here. We're gonna ask you some questions about your email address, right? So in this case, it would be, you know, I'm gonna send it from Dropbox, hello@dropbox.com, put in your address. And the last question is just going to be to give the project a name and plug in your website. That website URL is what's going to be used for your viral referral links. And so almost everything here in the wizard can be changed at a later time. So don't stress out over what you put here in the wizard. So instead of creating this project, since I've already done it before this demo, I'm gonna go back out to my dashboard. I'm gonna look here at the Dropbox campaign that I've already built out. So you see there's some stats here, but ignore those for now. We're just gonna dive right into what you would do if this was a fresh new campaign. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is build out the sign-up form. So this is like you can call it sign-up form, you can call it a lead collection form or an opt-in form or giveaway entry form or whatever you wanna think of it as. This is basically where people get added to your campaign, right? So that may be as simple as email address. So in this example here, I've actually kind of taken some wording and some graphics and stuff from Dropbox's own referral program, right? So you can see that I dropped an HTML block to the top of my form and edited that block, put in this little image that they're using on their site, some messaging about joining a campaign, and I'm collecting email address. Prefinery is hyper customizable. I mean, everything is customizable. So you have options for a lot of different questions here. You can ask them for their address, the phone number, where they work, any open-ended question, right? You can multiple choice. So that could be anything from asking them their zip code if you're selling a product that's very specific to their area. It could be multiple choice questions like what kind of mobile device do you use? A scale question is like rate something or on a scale of 1 to 10. We also have agreement or consent questions here that can be added to your form. So that's good if you have to abide by privacy laws or what have you in your country. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And we also have a CAPTCHA. The CAPTCHA is invisible, so that's super cool, right? It's not going to slow down people by having to answer a bunch of questions, but it's kind of runs behind the scenes and looks to see if we think they're a bot or a fraudulent or whatever, or spammer, and then don't let them sign up. So once you get your form looking real nice here, you can change the design easily, change colors, what have you, on your buttons. You got some different options here for changing your button styles, the label, and whatever you can't do on this quick design page, right? If you're not a designer, you're not a developer, you can do it right here in this design page. If you do happen to have a developer on your team or a freelancer or employee or what have you, you can head over to the CSS tab here. You can drop in any CSS that completely 100% customizes this form. You can also input some JavaScript that's going to run whenever somebody views the form, that's an impression, or whenever somebody actually submits the form, that's a conversion. So you can run custom JavaScript when those events happen. We got a lot of choices about what happens after the form is submitted. So by default, when the form is submitted, we're just going to replace it with what we call the referral page. So you can think of it as the share page or the share dialogue, but it's basically what's going to be encouraging people to refer their friends. But if you don't want to do that, you can redirect to a URL on your own site, or you can just show a simple thank you message. So once you've got your form looking real nice, the next step is to head over here to the referral page. So this is what people see when they submit the form. All right, so when you submit the form here, you can build out this page. It's pretty simple right now. If I click the preview button here, you can kind of see what this is going to look like. Pretty simple, right? Thanks for signing up. Here's your link that you can share on some social networks, or you can email it to people or what have you. The look and feel of this page, also highly customizable. You got a really nice editor here. You can add images, you can add YouTube videos, all that cool stuff to make it your own. If you head over to the design tab, you can quickly change a bunch of the colors that we use for text on that page, as well as the social icons. So like if I preview this, these icons are circles right now. You could choose to show the labels and give them some rounded edges. I'm going to preview it now. I easily change what those buttons look like. Again, everything is highly customizable. So you've got a CSS tab here. You can drop in all of your custom CSS to really make it just 100% match your brand. So if you want to configure like the networks that are being shown, or maybe change your referral link, what have you, head over here to the referral page settings. All right, so this is the referral URL that we've got set up. These are the networks that I've chosen, right? So I can enable the email network. That'll add another little share icon on the page. You've got some default messages here. What happens when people click those share buttons? And so I'll go ahead and save this. And if I go back over here and I preview this, you'll see that the email button has now been added. Yeah. So you can also add a whole bunch of variables on this page. So if you click this variables button, you can refer to the user by their email address or their name after they sign up. You can also show right there on this referral page how many shares they already have, how many referrals they've had. That way you can really communicate to them like what their progress is in your campaign. All right, so after setting up this referral page, we're going to navigate down here to the rewards. So in this case, we've set up a double-sided reward program, right? So single-sided means you just want to give the person who referred a friend an award, and double-sided means that you want to give both the friend and the person who referred them something. So in this case, for Dropbox, we're going to give 1 GB of bonus space to the person who is referring a friend and 500 megabytes of bonus space to the friend. If I go ahead and edit this campaign or this reward here, all right, so I'm going to say it takes one referral in order to earn that reward. That I do want to send the person an email when they earn it. I do want to limit it to only 32, right? So that's limiting it in this case to 32 gigabytes. I want to give them the reward when their friend signs up. Cool thing here is you can reward people when they perform custom actions on your site. So that could be like making a purchase or signing up for your newsletter or subscribing to your service or all sorts of custom things. And so you can say they only get the reward if they take that action on your site. I'm going to go down here and say the delivery, I'm going to mark it as automatic. So it's a pretty low value reward. So it's going to mark it as automatic. If you were giving away something that was of high value, money, huge coupon codes, all that kind of stuff, then you might want to set it to manual, and then you've got more control over reviewing each person who earned a reward before you actually issue that reward. All right, the next step here is we're going to go down to the email. So once email is all sent from Prefinery, you don't have to integrate with an email service provider. It just all comes from Prefinery. You just plug in your domain, you validate the domain, that you own it so that emails don't go to the spam folder, and you're good to go. All emails are coming from Prefinery. We've got a really nice email layout editor, some built-in email layouts that come with Prefinery, but if you want to add your own, you can do so here. So it's a graphical, visual, easily block-based editor, super easy to use, right? And drag and drop. You can switch over to the HTML view if you are a developer, so you do have that level of control if you need it. Next, we go to the messages. So this is one super cool thing that sets Prefinery apart from a whole lot of other options on the market, is that most companies just have a list of built-in messages, right? Send them this welcome email, send them this email when they get a reward or refer a friend, and that's it. Prefinery, you can actually add a whole bunch of additional messages. Our messages are sort of like a drip campaign where they can be triggered based on events that your users do, right? So when a user signs up, when they opt in, when they earn a reward, when they refer a friend, all those kind of things can trigger emails. So you see, we've seeded the account with a whole bunch of built-in ones here, right? If we navigate down here to the welcome email, right? So this is the email that's going to get sent as soon as they opt into your campaign. You can easily preview it, right? You got complete control over editing this, this layout. There's a bunch of variables that you can use right here to personalize it. If you navigate over to the settings page, this is where you can pick the layout you want to use and what's the trigger. So in this case, trigger is when the person applies, and you're going to send it immediately. And we're going to send it from this address. So yeah, it's super customizable. You can send from multiple addresses, change your layouts. But because this is trigger based, you can, oops, little error there. Let's see. Because this is trigger based, you can set up additional messages, right? So there's a referral reminder after 7 days after somebody completes the opt-in and they still have 0 referrals, then send this message. So if I preview this, basically just saying, you know, hey, it's an encouragement email, a little bit of a gentle nudge after 7 days, but you can actually set up more, right? So I could just actually clone this email message. And right here, it's inactive right now. I can edit it, and I can set up a 14-day reminder, right? So I can completely change this to add even more email addresses to my drip campaign here. So after 14 days, if they still have, let's say if they have, you know, let's say they have less than 5 referrals, then we want to send this encouragement email. Yeah, so super customizable, a super great way to really increase engagement and nudge people into referring their friends. So the form here is completely live, so you can easily submit your email address here to the form. You can take it for a test drive. You see what it looks like. Make sure it looks good. So at some point, after you got your campaign running, launched, you're going to start taking in a whole bunch of users. And this is where we really provide you with a whole bunch of great information. So over here on the analytics page, if you go to the engagement page, you can really see how many times people are seeing your forms, how many times they're actually submitting it, how many of those people are confirming their email addresses if you have double opt-in enabled. I got a whole bunch of stats here about how many of those people are sharing and how many are referring. This viral boost is a metric that shows you how many additional people are you getting because you're using Prefinery's referral platform. We could tell you a bunch of things like how do these direct visitors convert compared to referred visitors? Where are people sharing? What are the most popular networks that people are sharing on? So a whole bunch of really good info here. Email stats, ton of information on email as well. There's a test account, so you don't see a whole bunch of data populated, but we're telling you across all of your email messages in aggregate, you know, what's the open rate, click rate, bounce, spam, unsubscribe rate. You can see those same stats on a per message basis, right? So I can dig into the welcome email here and really see, say I want to go over the last 7 days, right? You can see how many people are opening, clicking. So yeah, so really digging into all the email. Over here on this log page, you can see all the email that you sent, what's in the queue that's about to be sent, right? So emails that are triggered, that are maybe pending because they're those 14-day reminders or 7-day reminders. You can dig into who's opened, bounced, spam complaints. So we're giving you access to a whole bunch of data here. And your users are coming in. So what we're showing you here on the users page is a whole lot more information than just their email address and referral code. But you can, these aren't real users, by the way. This is a test account, so these aren't. It's not like we're sharing a bunch of private information. But yeah, so this is a tabular view of all of your users. You can search and filter. I can sort here by number of referrals and see who's the top referrer. Prefinery behind the scenes is automatically collecting a whole bunch of information, like the user's language, UTM values, if you've connected this to an ad campaign, what site they were on before they visited, a whole bunch of information, their location, etc. So I can dig into each one of these users, click on their name here. And yeah, so I'm showing a whole bunch of information about the users. You can see a bunch of information about this person, that they're number one on the leaderboard. This is their referral link, language, browser, operating system. You can add notes, right, to share with your team. You can easily see all the people that this person has referred and when. You can see all the rewards that this person has earned. They've earned 14 times their bonus space. You can see a list of all the emails that have gone out to these people, and whether they have opened or clicked in these emails, right? So showing open stats down here that they opened the opt-in confirmation and when. Yeah, so if I back out to the users page, we've got filtering options here, right? So if you want to, or if you want to find users by, say, the last time you sent an email or the number of referrals, right? So I could say number of referrals is greater than 5. It'll show me all those users that match that filter. The data that you see on this table here is customizable. So if you go to customize table, you can change what you're seeing. So there's a whole bunch of information here. Name, if you tagged them or put them in any groups, when you imported them, when they unsubscribed, last time they opened or clicked an email, a bunch of demographic information, whether email is bounced to them, their IP address, a whole bunch of data that we're storing here that you can show on that screen. Last little bit here is if we go into settings. So this is pretty much the campaign. That part of the demo is over. I'm going to look at a couple of the additional settings that you have on your account. So in here in project settings, this is where you can configure whether double opt-in is enabled and whether you want to show them a generic message or redirect to your own confirmation page. Do you want to geolocate their IP address? That means automatically fill out city, state, country by their IP. We've got a vanity referral codes feature that lets you, instead of generating a random referral code, like ABC123 for each user, this will actually use their email address or name and build something more personal, right? So it could be like Lindsay123 instead of something random. I'm not going to go into all these settings, but you do have a lot of control over a fraud protection system, which is super robust. So really blocking a ton of spams, signups, bunch of bots, all that kind of stuff. So you can tweak those settings in here. In groups, you can add groups or tags to users, so you can group them or tag them. You can also set up a custom SMTP server. So if you don't want to route emails through Prefinery, you can use your own server. Also, you've got access to your team settings here, your company settings. So this is where you can specify whether people are required to log in with two-factor authentication or not in your team. You can add team members here to your company account so that you can share Prefinery with your whole team. And last over here in the settings, you can set up daily notifications for yourself, right? So we'll send you a daily digest of a report basically on how each one of those campaigns is doing. And under API access, obviously that's how you turn on the API if you're going to integrate more deeply with whatever it is that you're building. So that wraps up kind of the general campaign. What I'm going to do is just switch over for a minute or so and talk about what are the differences if you're running a pre-launch campaign. So pre-launch campaigns is kind of where Prefinery got its start back in 2008. So we've run a lot of pre-launch campaigns over the year. I mean, it's still by and large what most of our customers use Prefinery for. Most of them are SaaS companies, mobile apps, video games. But obviously you could run a pre-launch waiting list campaign for pretty much anything that you want to generate a bunch of hype around. And it could be physical products, it could be e-commerce, right? So basically something's coming soon and you want to build up a bunch of hype before it's released. So if you do select during the campaign wizard when you're creating a project that you want a pre-launch campaign, that's going to turn on some extra features for your account. Namely the ability to track users through a flow from applying for access to being given access and invited, or to actually using that invitation code, and they're actually using your product or service. And so we'll track them through those statuses from being applied to invited to active users. Prefinery can generate invitation codes automatically that are super easy to validate to get access to your product or service. Prefinery, you can upload a list of invitation codes, and we'll just pop one off of that list and send it to the user if you happen to have your own list of codes. We'll also enable an email, an invitation email template in your account. So basically, the waiting list here, right? So this is the wait list, shows how many people have been referred, or how many people are who are the most, who is the top of the waiting list, who's referring the most friends. Whenever you're ready to start letting people in, right, you can select a couple of them here, choose action, and you can invite them. So if I do that right now, that will remove them from the waiting list and send them an invitation email. All right, so if I go back over here, I can now see that some of these users have been invited. All right, so they've now been invited, they've been sent an invitation code. That invitation email is over here in messages. All right, so when a user is invited, send them this email, preview it. Basically, you customize this email with whatever you want to say that just communicates the unique invitation code. And we give you a super easy way to validate that code to make sure that they can access your service. The other last little thing that changes here is your referral page. On the settings, you have access to a little bit more settings here, like a waitlist starting position. This lets you artificially inflate the size of your waiting list when you're first getting started. Sometimes that's a nice feature that people want, right? You don't want to be the first in line. Maybe it looks a little weird. So sometimes people want to start their waiting list at 500. So it makes people feel like, you know, they really got to compete and refer their friends to get to the top of the list. The referral page itself, you've got some more variables that you can use on the page. You can communicate their waiting list position, how many people are ahead or behind them. Right, so if I preview this, it's a little bit different, right? How many shares and referrals they have. Their current position is number 200 in line. So yeah, so a couple extra bonus features when you enable a pre-launch campaign. And I think that about does it here for the demo. I know that was a whole lot of information, but I can take questions now. And obviously, if anybody has any questions after the webinar, they can email support@prefinery.com.
Totally. Sumalings, if you want to send any more questions to the Q&A, we have quite a few here. So I'm going to get started with these. Francisco asks, does this work in Spanish?
It does work in Spanish. So absolutely every single thing that an end user sees, you can change that language. So everything that I showed off, from email messages to the sign up form to the referral page to the confirmation email page, all that kind of stuff, everything is customizable. So you can absolutely run it in Spanish or any other language of your choice.
Awesome. The chat just started blowing up a little bit with questions about integrations. What can you tell us about integrations that are present and potentially upcoming?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. So Prefinery integrates with Zapier. So Zapier is, I think most people are familiar with it. Awesome tool that allows you to pretty much connect any two things on the internet. So they've got a library of some 1,500 to 2,000 apps. Prefinery is one of the first on that app store, and allows you to connect Prefinery to a whole bunch of different options, or vice versa, other things to Prefinery. So that lets you have a whole bunch of access to integrate with almost anything out there on the web. If that doesn't work, then Prefinery does support webhooks. So that's a kind of a power developer feature, but webhooks basically lets us tell your servers when something happened, and your servers can do something with that information.
I know our Sumolings love a webhook, so
yeah,
it'd be good for some people. Can the same person sign up every time? Say if I run a contest every week, will that same person using the same email have to sign up all over again?
Yeah, so Prefinery, you've got your company account, and in that company account, you can add team members. in different roles from your team. And in that company account, you can have an unlimited number of projects or campaigns. You can call them either one, interchangeable. And those projects or campaigns are completely self-enclosed. That means all of the settings, all of the email messages, all of the wording, the language, and the users that are participating, the analytics, all that stuff is completely separate. So if you're going to run a different campaign every week and those campaigns are literally separate projects, then yes, that user would have to reapply. Or if you're just kind of refreshing the same campaign constantly, then you have the ability to set a campaign to not allow any more signups. I guess you could disable signups for like a week, and then re-enable signups, and that would kind of give people the ability to keep sharing under the same campaign and keep building off of the momentum and referrals that they had before.
Cool. Can you upload users to your campaign, like existing customers to a referral campaign?
Absolutely, yeah. So I didn't go into some of those more detailed things. I'm sorry, but felt we were running out of time there a little bit. But yes, you can upload a CSV file. CSV file is a pretty common spreadsheet file, and you can upload a whole bunch of information. So not just email address, but you can upload in that file their email address, their name, when they signed up. If you're coming from another system and they signed up in some time in the past and you want to maintain that same sign up date so that they're at the same place in line, you can import a whole bunch of other information that I showed in the demo that you could collect a bunch of information. So that same information you can import. A feature that I didn't cover is something called instant sign up links. That means you can basically give people an instant sign up link that when they click it, they're immediately added to Prefinery. It's a pretty common use case if you say just want to use MailChimp or ConvertKit or Aweber or whatever you're using to send a mass email blast to your list. You don't want to really import them into Prefinery yet. You want to email them a link that says, hey, click this link to join our campaign. And in one click, it automatically adds them to the campaign.
Awesome. Sean also says awesome. Does email use Prefinery sending mailbox address, or will it say from my domain?
Oh, yeah. So that's a great question. I should have covered that. All the emails are being sent from you. Everything is branded Prefinery. A whole bunch of Fortune 500 companies have used Prefinery over our 12-year history. Obviously, branding is important. So there's no branding on anything, including emails. The emails do come from you. They don't show up as, King Taco or Dropbox sent via Prefinery. No, they come from your brand. You're authenticating your domain, adding some DNS records, and giving Prefinery to send email on your behalf. So 100% from your domain, yes.
Cool. There is a different leaderboard for each campaign, correct? I just want to make sure and not assume how many. Oh, and then the next question, how many campaigns can I run at one time?
Yeah, okay. So you can run an unlimited number of campaigns within your company account. Each one of those campaigns, like I mentioned, is completely separate. All the data is separate. So it will have a separate leaderboard or separate waitlist if it is a pre-launch campaign. So yes, they will each have separate leaderboard, and you can run as many as you want. There's no limit.
Can you download a campaign list of emails from Prefinery and input them into your own mailing list provider after the campaign has finished?
Yes, yeah. So there's an export feature as well. So just like I talked about how you could import a whole bunch of information into Prefinery, you can export all of that information as well. So you can totally export your whole campaign, and that's not just email address and name, but it's everything about them: email address, name, everything I showed off, like their demographic information, their location, their UTM tags, the referral code, the referral link, all that kind of stuff is all included in that export. So it's a pretty big export.
All right. I am reluctant to ask this next question for what will be obvious reasons. Christine asks, does this replace AppSumo? I'm going to put a little asterisk on this question. Can you talk more broadly about how y'all compare to your competitors?
Yeah, obviously. Okay. Yeah, I have not I've not used King Sumo myself. I was an AppSumo product. I have quickly logged in and tried it out. From what I see, it seems to be a really awesome product for very quickly getting up a giveaway. And so if you want to launch a giveaway very fast, it is template based. So it asks you a couple questions and you answer those questions and that's what you get.
That is exactly
Refinery, go ahead. Sorry.
That's exactly right. It's very simple, very easy, efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So this is kind of what sets Prefinery off from a bunch of competitors. I wouldn't really call Prefinery a competitor to King Sumo at all. I think we serve a slightly different use case, user base. So what sets Prefinery off from a whole lot of competitors out there that have kind of popped up over the years, over a 12-year history. So now the space has got a little more crowded. I say that most competitors are really, they can often be very good tools, but they are coming at it from a template-based approach. So they tend to give you a wizard, ask you some questions, you answer those questions, and that's what you get. And you have some limited options when it comes to really customizing your campaign. And so what sets Prefinery apart is one, just it's the other end of the spectrum. I mean, everything is customizable. Import your own JavaScript, CSS, colors, branding, everything is 100% customizable. So that's what sets us apart. Some other things are, I talked about the pre-launch campaigns. That was sort of our bread and butter for all these years. So those campaigns are still, there's no one else really in the space that is doing just pre-launch campaigns as well.
I actually haven't seen that on an AppSumo tool yet. So
yeah, I mean, there's some competitors that maybe, promote that you could use their service for pre-launch, but they just don't have these features like the ability to invite people and send invitation codes and upload invitation codes and track people, have they used the codes or not, all that kind of stuff. So there's some features around pre-launches that are very specific to Prefinery.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that.
And I guess one other thing that sets Prefinery apart is those email campaigns. So I showed off in the demo that you don't just get like 5 email messages and you can change the subject, but you get sort of kind of an unlimited number of email messages that you can push into a drip style campaign to give you a whole lot more customization over how you want to encourage people to refer their friends.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
How can I make this work for a virtual summit where I have Infusionsoft for affiliate partners who also promote to their lists?
Okay, that may be a little bit hard for me to answer on the spot. It's a very specific question.
It's very specific.
It's very specific. It's very specific. I would say, yeah, I mean, Prefinery is, like I said, so highly customizable that we've used it in so many situations over the years, from e-commerce to apps that I'm sure everybody here is familiar with for big companies. So it's highly customizable. People who come with questions like, can I use it to promote this or this? The answer is usually yes, but I don't want to mislead anyone here in the webinar. So I would say, please support@prefinery.com and ping me with this question, and I'll be able to give you some more personal help.
Awesome, thank you. These questions came in the same minute and they're kind of an echo of each other. If you are an agency, can you use the same account for different campaigns, or do you need a separate account for each client? And then Jack asks, are we able to run campaigns for clients?
Yes, okay, so that's a great question. That's come up a whole lot on the AppSumo deal page. When we get off this webinar, if people want to check out help.prefinery.com/appsumo-FAQ, it's got some good information. But the answer is yes, if you are an agency and you are 100% running those campaigns for your clients. So as I explained before, Prefinery has the company account, and in that company account, you can run a whole bunch of campaigns. Your team members are members of that company account. And so that means you have to give a client access to that company account. So if you're running, say, a campaign here for, a shoe client, and you're running another campaign in your account for a completely different client, running a seminar, a conference or event or something like that. So you have 2 completely different clients. you wouldn't want to invite them to the same company account because they'd be able to see each other's data. And so if you're going to run campaigns for other people and they are completely held in-house, you're not giving any access to your clients, you just want to send them a report and run the campaigns for them, then yes, you could run it all under one Prefinery account and one AppSumo deal code. If you want to run these campaigns and then share each campaign with your clients because you want to give them access to log in and see users and export users and see their analytics and all that kind of stuff in real time, then you would need one Prefinery account for each client, and each one of those Prefinery accounts would have to have their own deal code.
Fantastic. Thank you for clarifying all of that.
Yeah.
We just have one more question here. So Sumolings, if you want to send any more questions, go ahead and send those to the deal page. This one is, could you enable users sharing on Telegram Messenger?
Yeah, absolutely. I know Telegram is super popular now because of the whole Facebook and WhatsApp privacy policy changes. So yes, Telegram is on the roadmap right now. You know, we do allow sharing over WhatsApp, and so I definitely want to provide sharing over Telegram. I'm a Telegram fan myself, so yes, it's coming. It's on the roadmap. Check out the roadmap at prefinery.com/roadmap, and you can upvote that feature.
Yuri sends a lot of exclamation points and says, awesome. I will second that. That sounds great. So yeah, Sumolings, if you want to check out that roadmap, prefinery.com/roadmap, you said, right?
Super easy. Yep.
Super easy. Can't miss it. And if you have any more questions, support@prefinery.com. Is that?
That's it. Yes. Or just go to prefinery.com and there's a support bubble there. You can start a conversation. The roadmap is linked on the homepage. The knowledge base is linked on the homepage. Basically start at the homepage and go from there. But if you want personal help, then yeah, support at prefinery.com.
Amazing. All right, Sumolings, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for all of your questions. Thank you so much, Justin, for hanging out with us today. If you have not already, you can go to appsumo.com/prefinery and you can redeem your codes. It's starting at $59 for a lifetime deal. And of course, this is backed by AppSumo's 60-day guarantee. So you can go ahead, get set up, play around with this and see how it works for you. Once you've done that, we do love to read your reviews on the deal page. So go ahead and drop those there. And of course, if you have any more questions, you can hit up their support or you can leave those questions on the deal page. Thank you so much, Justin. I hope you have a good one.
Lindsay, thank you. Super fun to do this. So goodbye, everybody. Thanks a lot.